What's up, everybody? Welcome to Quick Hits presented by Howlerhead. I'm Laura Sanko, and I am backstage at UFC 263 in Glendale, Arizona, getting ready for some big fights tonight. We have 2 titles on the line, another 5-rounder to look forward to as well. This place is already buzzing. We've got a sold-out arena, so much to look forward to, and it's all going to kick off very shortly, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern on ESPN. Prelims are wall-to-wall on ESPN, and of course, the main card will kick off at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on ESPN+. But guys, the only thing that could possibly make this viewing experience even better would be to have a little bit of money on the line. So I am bringing in our resident expert, one of my favorite human beings. He is the sharpest of all sharps. Of course, I am talking about Gianni, the Greek Karalis. Gianni, how you doing?
Never better. Thanks for having me. Great card, top to bottom, and it's getting so much action here in Vegas, Laura. Lines are moving like crazy. I mean, so significantly, and that tells you that there's just not just public money late, that there's a lot of sharp money coming in late as well. And you're seeing a lot of changes in these betting odds, and that tells me a ton of volume. So a lot of interest in this card tonight.
I love hearing that, and I love that we've got a lot of fun storylines to talk about as well. But before we get to specific fights, I'm kind of dying to know, as I was thinking about what I wanted to talk to you about, because I know you're the stats guy, you got stats for everything, and I love that you come through this analytical lens. Talk to me about rematches in general. We'll talk about the fights themselves, but rematches in general. Do you look at betting a rematch differently than you do a fresh matchup?
I do. I love rematches because we have a ton of data going in. Not only do we have each fighter's history, but now we even have some data of them fighting each other. Mm-hmm. And if there's one thing I've learned betting sports for as long as I have, is that the betting market overreacts to small sample sizes. And a lot of times you can take advantage of the rematch based on what happened the first time around, because we all draw conclusions on what we saw last. And it's hard to change that narrative in our own minds. And odds makers know this very well. And they'll shade those lines towards those biases. I've been able to take advantage of that. I'm kind of contrarian, so it helps me, when it comes to going against what the narrative is. Yeah. And in rematches, that's been successful for me, even though the winner of the first has won the second, a lot more times than not. I have 62% since UFC 1. So usually the end result is the same more times than not, but it doesn't turn out the same way. That's what changes a lot of times. The fight don't break out like it did last time around.
And that's what I'm dying to find out in this main event, right? Because both of these fighters, Israel Adesanya, Marvin Vettori, they fought 3 years ago. Both of them have evolved in their own way. Marvin Vettori in very visual ways, and his wrestling, his cardio, it's obvious the ways that he has improved. And Israel Adesanya, his reign at middleweight has been absolutely flawless, but I feel like people are really keying in on his last performance, moving up to light heavyweight and falling short against Jan Blachowicz. The wrestling was a bit of a factor there. Just talk to me about this fight, and are you putting your money behind one of these guys?
Listen, I'm backing this opinion with my money, and this is one of my biggest bets on this card. So, yeah, there's no reason to hold the anticipation. I love Israel Adesanya in this spot, and I'm going to tell you why. Not only do I have historical data to back me up, but even the X's and O's back me up. Like I said, in rematches, the winner of the first wins the second 62% of the time, lifetime. Since 2012, it's 70% of the time. When favored in both, like Adesanya is, it's almost 80% of the time. So when the favorite's gotten it done, they've been able to get it done again. So we like that. We know also the champ defends successfully 65% of the time. If it goes to a decision, this one, 4.5 rounds, what the total is. The champ wins the decision 7 out of 10 times. So I have all that historical data real quick, X's and O's. Unless Marvin Vettori completely changes everything he's done. Remember, last time Izzy fought, I said, I don't have data to back anything up. He's never fought at 205. Yeah. Here I do, because here's what I have for Vettori. Standing, 80+% of his strikes go to the head. That's so predictable for a striker like Adesanya. For him, that's like picking off nothing. And then time spent in position. You look at Vettori, 75% of the time standing. So only 25% of the time is he on the ground. what, in 5 rounds? What's he going to get, a round and a half? If he's able to stick at least to his history against Adesanya, is that enough to dominate? Absolutely not. I'm telling you, even the data supports the Adesanya side. I'd be surprised if he loses this fight. And the fact this line isn't so much higher than the first time around, when you look at the strength of schedule for each guy since then, how this line isn't minus 350, minus 400 is beyond, I'm surprised. But it's the perception from the rematch, and Izzy lost last time out.
There's definitely, I feel like, a little bit of a recency bias, right? In what people saw last, that's what they're going to remember. That's what they're going to put their money behind. And I'm with you, Gianni. I completely agree with everything you had to say there. And I got to say, I feel like DC needs to be nervous about his job, because your ability, obviously you're good at the betting stuff. Okay. That's your job. That's exactly what you do. But you're building breakdown fights, my friend. I mean, you're getting
learning a little around you guys, learning a little about the sport. I know the market, and I'm learning more about the sport. I'm loving it.
Well, I love it too. And man, what's not to love about this co-main event? The best flyweight fight for my money that I have ever seen in the UFC. Deiveson Figueiredo rematching against Brandon Moreno. Now, the first time, I think a lot of people, the more casual bettor, might not know that partly went to a draw because a point was taken away from Deiveson Figueiredo. Brandon Moreno certainly had his huge moments. I think it was round 4. He poured it on. And I think he has figured out, I can take Figueiredo's punches. And if I bully the bully, I'm going to have a lot of success in this fight. On the flip side, you've got Deiveson Figueiredo, who said, listen, I was sick in that fight. I had to cut weight twice in 3 weeks. This is going to be a very different fight. I'm fascinated to see how much these X factors do or don't come into play. Who do you like in this one?
There are so many factors at play there. You're 100% right. I'll tell you the truth. I don't have a big bet on this fight, but I'll say it if I backed an opinion with my cash. And this line was at one point Moreno plus 220, and I knew that line was going to drop just because he looked so good the first time around. And I made a small bet. I thought that was some value there. So I have to lean to that side and say that's the side I want to see come out ahead. Because again, if Figueiredo wasn't 100%, which we know obviously he wasn't, it was a short turnaround, something he doesn't really like to do. It was the health thing, the stomach in the hospital, all that. There's no reason. It's true. So obviously he wasn't 100%. But it's still, Moreno gave him a real tough fight, and you can't overlook that. And I think they're a lot closer than that betting line reflects. And the odds makers' hands are handcuffed. You can't go from what it was last time and all of a sudden adjust it so significantly a lot closer to a coin flip. I'm not saying it's a coin flip. Figueiredo should be favored, but I think closer to that minus 150 range where he wins this fight 6 out of 10 times. Because if Moreno is able to get the takedowns, get some control time down there, and not get finished or knocked out, I think he could win this fight on the scorecards. He's tough, and we've seen Moreno take a lot of punishment and not go away. And I think Figueiredo will be ready for that this time. But if he can't put him away, can he win a decision? It'll be tough. He usually doesn't outland his opposition.
It's so fun to kind of go through all those machinations, and it's easy to play devil's advocate, with this main and co-main event and make cases really for either side. But
exactly.
If I'm putting my money down, I want to know, what is your best, most confident bet on this card? Because I'm a conservative girl. I don't have a lot of money to be losing, throwing around. What is the one bet I need to make if I'm going to make a bet?
I have to make this bet, and I don't like, there's uncertainty in heavyweights because of the randomness, but this line's dropping so much. Carlos Felipe was a minus 200 favorite. He's now minus 160. So we get about 5% of margin right there. That to me screams of value. But the reason for that is simple. It's the perception that, listen, he's not a finisher. He's gone to decisions in the UFC, but that was against some very big, tough, durable guys. This is a fade against Collier, who again, was at 185, then at 205 up until 217, had 3 years off, came back as a heavyweight. He's 1-1. And that one fight he won was against a much smaller guy. I think he's going to have trouble keeping Felipe off him. And this one's going to remain, standing, because Collier, you look at his history, he's got 2 takedowns in all his UFC fights. And that was in his very first one in his debut. So this one remains standing. I like Felipe. I think he should be at least a minus 200 favorite. The big guys is dangerous because one shot ends it, but I think this line should be so much higher. Let's go, Felipe.
I completely agree with you. And I'm telling you what, Carlos Felipe, I feel like is one of the more deceiving guys unless you really dig into his game. He may not necessarily look the part, but he is a real athlete. The way that he moves, his fight IQ at heavyweight, he's got some really technical striking, has struggled in the past against grapplers. That's not what we have in Jake Collier. And most of all, Carlos Felipe is a real heavyweight. This guy's never seen middleweight since probably middle school. So I'm with Gianni. I think that's a great bet to make there. And last but not least, if you're one of those people also like me who likes to kind of throw caution to the wind, a little bit of money is going to get me a lot. May not be maybe the crazier of the bets, but you feel good about it. What is a high risk, high reward bet that we can take a look at?
Anyone that's been following along on this segment or watching the show on Fight Pass already knows I'm on this side, and that's the Darren Stewart side, because it's simply a market play, and you got to bet it if you're a value bettor and know you have the right side regardless of outcome. Here's why. Me, you, the world concluded he should be a minus 200 favorite just a couple months ago in this very same spot, that he should win this fight 2 out of 3 times. We all agreed on that. He was a minus 200 favorite. He was winning that fight, and then it turned. Anders took over. And what we remember last is why this line's moved so significantly. You're now giving me him as an underdog. I think this one goes the distance. 2 durable guys. That gives us 3-1. So I like him as an underdog already. But let's gamble a little bit and play psychic. Ooh. I say they go long this time because what we saw last, it's going to change a little bit. Okay. And we'll get 3-1 on our money. I think Stewart is going to get the best of Anders this time around.
I like that. I see you. I see you.
Getting valued there.
I love it. I love it. Get us that value. Yanni, I always appreciate your thoughts. Your technical analysis is just getting deeper and deeper. And man, you're winning us money left, right, and center. And we appreciate that so much. And we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. And guys, keep it locked in right here. I've got another special guest coming up right now. Hey guys, joining me now, I have number 4 ranked UFC welterweight, the nicest mother friender on the roster, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. How you doing?
Doing good. Glad to be on with you. So thank you for having me on. I love the announcement. You know, the nicest MFer, I guess you could say. But
you're a mother friender. I feel like you would friend someone's mom. That seems like something within your character. Like, hey, let's be friends.
It is, right? I mean, that's the vibe you get, right?
Yeah, 100%. The other vibe I'm getting, though, is, if I'm being honest, 99% Vanilla Ice. Like, turn to the side a second. That is the tightest fade. And
look at this.
Look at that. I want that music to start playing. Ding, ding, ding.
I can literally sing the entire song. I can literally sing the entire song.
Listen, you're on social media right now, so we have free reign over anything. You can sing the entire song. Maybe we'll save that for the end.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, Let's get down to business. Let's talk about these fights. We have two incredible title fights tonight and another 5-rounder. I want to touch on all of them with you. We'll start with the main event. Israel Adesanya looking to defend his belt yet again. And this time, I feel like he's got a really interesting task in Marvin Vettori. Obviously, it's a rematch, 3 years in the making. And to me, a lot of people are building this narrative that the fight that Izzy had against Jan somehow created this blueprint and how to beat him, his first loss. Do you buy that narrative, or do you think the weight was the biggest differentiating factor there?
I don't buy it at all. I mean, if you've seen the formidable opponents he has faced in the past, other grapplers, other wrestlers, and they weren't able to take him down. So I believe that it was definitely the weight, the strength of Blachowicz. I think that played a huge aspect in the win. But he's got the best takedown defense in the division. He's a highly skillful striker and counter striker. So I think, of course, both opponents have made leaps and bounds since the last time they have faced. So I'm really anxious to see what's going to happen tonight.
I'm excited for that one too. And then in the co-main event, we have another rematch of the flyweights. In my opinion, the best flyweight fight I have ever seen in the UFC. And once again, we've got a little bit of X factors at play, because the first fight, Davison Figueiredo, was sick. We found out later before the fight. Brandon Moreno now feels like he can take Davison Figueiredo's biggest punches. They both had to cut weight really close to succession last time. Now we've got full camps. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's excited. Brandon Moreno is looking to bring the pressure this time. Do you think it's possible we're actually going to see an even better version of their first fight?
I think so.
Possible, but
both guys are healthy. Both guys are looking sharp. I think this is going to be fireworks for sure, and it could go either way. I mean, Figueiredo obviously is very well-rounded. His opponent's got excellent striking, but I believe it's going to be a stand-up war. I think these guys are going to keep the fight standing, and hopefully we'll see a knockout. But do I know who? No, I don't. I hate picking fighters because at this level it is so difficult. I mean, because anything can happen out there.
I'm not making you pick fighters. See how nice I'm being?
You are.
We're just...
I think you're the NMF. I think that's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank
Not
you.
making me look bad. Thank you.
That means a lot. That means a lot coming from you. And then of course the third fight, the one I'm really interested in getting your opinion on, the welterweight fight, 5 rounds, Leon Edwards, Nate Diaz. Man, just such a huge contrast in styles. Really, Nate Diaz is a contrast in styles with about anybody except for himself. He's got such a unique style of just constantly putting volume in your face. Leon Edwards, though, he's like the Swiss Army knife of the division. He could do it all, and he could do it all really, really well. And when you fight him, there's never really this clear path to victory. What are you expecting from this fight?
Man, I think if you're fighting Nate Diaz, you know he's going to bring it. You know he's going to bring it. You're going to have to be on your P's and Q's, and your cardio's got to be on point. Of course, we know Leon Edwards' cardio is good. I mean, he's won his last 8 fights, I think, or 9 fights. I don't remember, but he's very, very skillful. And like I said, when you go out there fighting Nate Diaz, you better bring it, because he could put you to sleep with his hands or tap you, or put you to sleep with a choke. So I'm looking forward to this fight for sure, and definitely going to be watching this fight very, very closely.
And we know you'll be watching it closely for a variety of reasons. A lot of talk about, is the winner of this fight going to get a title shot? We've got Colby Covington constantly looming in the wings. But you, my friend, have a very important fight coming up just around the corner at UFC 264, July 10, taking on Gilbert Burns. I'm anxious to hear your thoughts on this matchup, because rarely at this point in the history of MMA, I guess you could say, do you get these really fun specialist matchups, right? A striking specialist, a grappling specialist. Something about it feels kind of old school, and I love it. What do you think about the matchup?
I love it, and I'm glad to see there are still specialists in the game. I mean, especially at this high level. Gilbert Burns is tough, man. I know he just got off of a loss with Kamaru Usman, got put to sleep with a jab. Usman is not considered the best striker in the division. He's very, very well-rounded, but is getting better every day. As you can see when he fought, just knocked out Masvidal. So, Gilbert Burns is definitely at some point going to look to take the fight to the ground, which most of my opponents do. So it makes it fairly easy for me. The fact that I got to prepare for all my opponents the same, because at some point they want to try and take me down. But Gilbert Burns is definitely one of the best, if not the best grappler in the division, right there with Damian Maia. So this is why I'm so excited about this fight, because, my goal is to fight the best fighters in the world, in the division, and he is. So just to test myself, to make that, to let everybody know, the UFC and the fans, that after a good win over Gilbert Burns, I'm ready for a title shot.
Well, that was my very next question is, do you feel like given a certain type of performance, you could slide right in, leap over Colby, leap over, the potential of the winner of tonight's fight? Maybe it's Leon. Do you feel like, but does that put any added pressure on you, I guess, too? I mean, do you feel like you have to go out there and do a certain thing, or does your history speak for itself?
Yeah, do I think it adds pressure? No, I don't think so. I mean, that's my goal, to be champion, and he's just another guy in my way. So, I don't think it's added pressure. I think it definitely motivates me more to try and train as hard as I can to prepare for this fight. And I think with a good win over Gilbert Burns, I mean, if not the next fight, because I know there's some guys like Leon Edwards who's been promised a title shot. They were talking about Colby Covington, but it's okay. They've got to give it to me after one of them, or if there's a new champ, we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And if the cards fell in such a way, because I'm with you, I agree, but if the cards fell in such a way, I did see you, I mean, just uncharacteristically, just completely go off on Colby Covington on Twitter. I mean, you went absolutely crazy. I've never seen you be like this before. It was inappropriate. It was over the line. Guys, you know what he said? He said, if I'm scary, fight me. I mean, how dare you? Like, I thought.
Hey, he brought the best out of. He brought the evil out of me. Okay, that's what you get. That's what you get, Colby.
But
all right, if you're not scared, then fight me.
Then fight me.
That's all I got.
I mean, it was irrational. It was all over the place. It was so emotional. But it was funny because it made me envision what a press conference between you and Colby would sound like. And I need you to hear me out on this, okay? I feel like if you can come in there and just pick, I don't think he even has a dog, okay? But you need to pick on him. Like, every time he says something horrible to you, you need to take your mama jokes. We don't want to talk about his mom. He's got a great mom. Take your mama jokes and turn them into, like, your dog jokes. Like, you know what, Colby? Your dog's so fat that, I don't know. I don't have any off the top of my head. And
I love it. I'll eat him with niceness. That's what I'm going to kill him, defeat him with niceness. Whatever he's got to say, I'm just gonna smile back at him. I'm gonna look across, and I'm gonna compliment him. I'm gonna compliment him. That's how it's gonna be.
It's worked for you so far. Another suggestion. You can tell I've thought about this a lot. Another suggestion. He really likes to take pictures with the ladies, right? He's always got many of the ladies around. Puppies. Like, if you could start taking more pictures with puppies.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Over the shoulder.
You know what I'm saying? Cuddled up on the couch or outside.
These are my bees. These are my bees. I got my bees.
Yeah, I got you. I'm with you. I'm on the same brainwave as you right now. I'm liking the ideas. You need to keep them coming. Keep them coming.
I'll text you. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Stephen, thank you so much for taking some time out of your evening. I will let you go. Enjoy these fights, man. And I am so excited to watch you fight UFC 264. Appreciate you always. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Pleasure's all mine. Hope you have a good one.
Thanks, Stephen. And guys, stay locked in right here. More behind the scenes footage coming right now.
Moving up to 205 to challenge for the belt wasn't always in the plans. The universe kind of just gave me this alley-oop, and I missed that dunk. I needed to shake things up a bit and reshuffle the deck of cards that I've been handed, so I did that. Changing my strength training program when I do it, and also just replacing it with the breath work and the mobility work I do with Dave Wood.
The benefit of this training is that it gets them out of their comfort zone. This is something different. This is a wild environment. You know, it's the middle of winter here and it gets pretty chaotic. There's a combination of breath work. All right, guys, 1 minute recovery. Use the breathing. Focus in. Movement stuff on the beach. Turn around. All the way to the top. Come back down, drop the kettlebells at the bottom, then sprint. The sand dune running. Next two. And a whole lot of stuff in the water. Watch out swimming, because this pulls straight out. It's an opportunity to get them out of their comfort zone and really push them.
Although Adesanya has returned to the drawing board, he remains the very best at 185 pounds, where he has a title to defend and a legacy to continue.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm still the undefeated, undisputed middleweight champion of the world. And that's not going to change anytime soon.